this case is probably the most difficult and shocking case that this county in St. Johns County has dealt with. Is one of only a very small few.
How did Aiden Fucci show signs of deception before his arrest? Which linguistic signs should we look for? This video looks at Aiden's talk with his parents in an interrogation room.
This is very serious, Aiden. You can't act like I don't know. I don't know. You can't, and you can't say.
You understand this is serious? Clearly.
This is exactly how guilty people behave, like they don't know. They use hedging language like probably, I don't know, and guess so, indicating uncertainty. Rather than tell outright lies, deceptive people will first use hedges to cast doubt on certain narratives, certain chains of events that could be damaging to them. And Aiden uses hedges multiple times.
You understand, right?
Mm-hmm. Everything you say will affect you.
Aiden's is a so-called minimal response, like yes and no. On a surface level, it could sound like he's acknowledging what his father said. When we dive deeper though, his response actually indicates resistance, the opposite of acknowledging or agreeing. First, we should note that he doesn't say yes, yeah, or mirror his father's word choice, like I understand. He chooses one of the most non-committal, minimal responses possible. Second, there's rising intonation on the last part. Linguistically, this points to incomplete information, and we can translate this to a lack of processing what his father and mother said. His parents are giving him too much credit. Their statements about accountability and appealing to his conscience have no effect on someone like Aiden, who takes and has so little of both.
That Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not at all. Now we have people on the phone in our house, not in our car stop. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media.
It's on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well, safe being.
You just tell me anything different about our car that we don't know about? No.
The whole time, Aiden's leg moves up and down in a rapid motion, corresponding to his non-committal minimal response, and indicating that he's holding something back, something which visibly causes internal stress. This is how guilty knowledge manifests itself.
You think she got picked up by him?
Probably.
Probably is a hedge, non-committal language that makes it easy for the subject to retract it at a later point, if necessary and convenient. His mother's suggestive questions about Tristyn being picked up by someone else allow Aiden to make up a story. More misrepresentation.
She said she wouldn't come home. She said she's gonna find somebody to stay
Like she
at the
left her
house.
there walking? Like you think she got picked up after that? She just kept walking?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know if she turned the other direction or she was just still walking behind you?
She pushed her down and you walk away. We shouldn't be talking.
I just asked what he told the cops. I
Understand.
just asked what he told them.
As you walked away, you came straight home. You didn't turn back around and see where she went.
Aiden doesn't say anything. Nodding his head side to side is how he responds now. This lack of a real answer obviously frustrates his father, as he rubs the back of his head as a way to self-soothe.
What were you doing outside that late at night?
I was at Trey's house hanging out with them.
Did you kiss or do anything with this girl?
Be honest as you can to them.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah, I kissed her.
Any further?
Mm-hmm.
So your DNA's gonna be on her?
When asked if he did anything further, Aiden returns to a non-committal minimal response, indicating incomplete information and an unexpected lack of assertiveness. Unexpected if he were innocent, that is.
This is serious. Aiden.
It's very serious.
This isn't no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And hers.
And ours. And your brothers and sisters. And don't forget to go to school tomorrow.
Why?
Because the kids will hurt me.
His parents once again bring attention to the serious consequences this has for his life. The interesting thing is that Aiden doesn't react to this. It's only when his mother mentions something about not being able to go to school tomorrow that Aiden reacts with the reproachful why. Thus, he only responds to the restrictions that his actions result in. He doesn't respond to the sympathy he should have for his parents and siblings. His lack of accountability and lack of empathy are consistent patterns.
You're gonna keep me, right?
They don't have no evidence that I know of yet. Unless you know any other thing I don't know. Did y'all have
His father talks about their lack of evidence unless there's something Aiden's not telling them. Aiden's first response is a turn initial delay. He's asked a question but hesitates before he answers. In this context, the hesitation indicates undisclosed information. However, it's still a no, the first time we've heard this minimal response. This no is different from the more unassertive. He returns to.
Did y'all have
Aiden unintentionally distinguishes between these questions in terms of whether or not he's comfortable with them. He's more comfortable saying no to the question about knowing something else than the question about whether or not he did anything with Tristyn. The question he says no to is a way out, so that he doesn't have to keep telling lies. The question about being with Tristyn is much more inconvenient for him, because it forces him to keep lying to his parents.
You don't know what happened to her after you pushed her?
Did she say ow or get mad?
She said Aiden. She was like, Aiden.
Usually, we operate with the term narrative balance. A narrative about a certain chain of events contains a prologue, a critical event, and an aftermath. However, we don't even have that here. The parents have to ask Aiden all the questions, and the answers aren't only very short and void of information, but also deceptive in and of themselves. It's an obvious lie that he can't remember what happened to her, that he doesn't know the result of his own action. However, his mother's subsequent suggestive question allows Aiden to respond anyway, even though he just finished saying he doesn't remember. An innocent person, on the other hand, couldn't wait to give the information in order to be released.
Why were you down? Were you up and down?
A little bit
For what?
of water.
Or
Water from the cup.
her cup?
No, water from a cup. A drink.
You spilling yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
His father asks what he was doing, and Aiden deceptively answers with a question, as if he didn't hear it. Not only does this give him more time to think, but it also leaves the initiative up to his father. This way, Aiden can play along to his father's suggestive questions. When his father asks him if it was her cup, Aiden's tone changes for the first time.
No, water from a cup.
Apparently, when the questions get too intrusive and potentially dangerous, he knows how to defend himself. However, immediately after this, when he's asked about why he spilled on himself, he plays taciturn and innocent again. With the turn initial delay and low-key intonation, and once again, it's unreliable that he's not sure about the chain of events. Aiden continues to play innocent when his mother says she wants to go home and get his clothes.
Can we go home and get your clothes?
More clothes.
The clothes you're wearing?
Mm-hmm.
In a self-soothing fashion, his mother moves from side to side with her arms crossed, holding herself.
Maybe nothing on this closed, right?
Right has an implicit preference for agreement that the other speaker agrees. Thus, this is a leading question. The last thing you want to ask guilty people are leading and suggestive questions. You want to ask them descriptive questions instead, and not let them get away with short sentences.
Are you not scared?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm a little scared, but
If he didn't do nothing, I'd be worried about him.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
He didn't do nothing, right? It's a hell of a bad time, bad spot.
The parent's suggestive and leading questions give Aiden the chance to modify his words, not really, to a little scared or a little scary. Why? Because his mother introduced the word scared, obviously frustrated with Aiden's lack of concern and lack of cooperation. Once again, the father says right, making his question leading and making it easy for Aiden to say no sir. Obviously, sir is a polite address. Maybe this is how Aiden usually addresses him. However, politeness in situations like this is something investigators look out for. Politeness often indicates deception, that the subject thinks investigators and even family members will let them off the hook if they just treat them nicely. Many times they succeed because people like to feel respected and hear nice things. Deceptive people take advantage of that. Here we see that politeness is just that, politeness, because Aiden lies to his father's face.
Leaving a 13-year-old girl by herself in the middle of the streets at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time is not smart, bro. Walking home with her in the middle of the night, that wasn't smart either. You stay away from females. Anything could happen.
His father tells him to stay away from females, because anything could happen, and thus lets Aiden know that he's taking his side. At this point, it sounds like he's struggling to convince himself into believing Aiden's false victim narrative. Struggling because his body language and leading questions have suggested that he's actually doubting his son. Parents go to great lengths to lie to themselves, and leading questions are part of the self-deception. And his particular word choice tells us that his only focus is his son. There's no concern for Tristyn.
Think about every question he's going to ask you. Before you answer it, you think about the answer again. What is your phone?
the officer.
Did you get your food at least?
We've now seen how Aiden told his parents he was being deceptive without actually telling them. His speech behavior and body language indicate undisclosed information. Most parents will overlook every single sign of deception, partly because of disbelief and partly because they know they're being videotaped. Aiden's ability to remain calm and careless under these circumstances, even trying to put the blame on his victim, is psychopathic and evidence of a dangerous person who's capable of anything. Before you leave, I'd like to welcome you to this channel if it's your first time here. If you've been here before, welcome back. See you next time.